Pair of politicians. Hello, you two. Which party do you represent? Oh, I'm the left-hand party. And I'm the right-hand party. So, which of you should I choose? Well, choose me because, well, I'll eat the food fastest. No, choose me because I smell the worst. We'll spend all your money if we can. Yes. Sorry I can't touch you. You are, after all, politicians and protected by the electric fence of legislation. Yes, it allows you to commit acts of genocide. Oh yes. Well, what have you got for us to eat? Well, I could think of a few things that I could feed you, but there you go. I told you all we needed to do was work together, left and right, to divide the people. And now, our good friend, Uncle Rockefeller and Auntie Rothschild and all the other Zion types, they have given us new grass. Look at that. We got ample fresh grass now. We can eat and be merry like the pigs we've become. Okay, well, look, let me go get some more over there. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Those people, they can take care of themselves. I mean, we tricked them really, but they did consent. Yes, they did consent. Yes, you're right. Let's eat up. All right. Yum, yum. Now, what are we going to do when this runs out? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I think we can find some more people to trick. Well, yes, no, definitely. I'm sure I saw a group over there in Africa. Okay, let's go. I'm on my way. Sort of inadvertently block that off. And this is a bit tighter. I'm gonna need a little bit of anxiety, free match. Harnesses. Earth is not a spinning ball. You can't prove it. The teacher makes you believe it when you're young. You can't prove it. It's like a religion. You can't prove it. Earth ain't spinning. Earth is flat. We've been lied to since school. Earth is flat.
How you doing?
Uh,
You alright? Is there any of these images here or any of these evidences that I've put here? Can you contest any of
Where are
them?
the sources from? You haven't got any of the sources.
So?
Sources, references.
Well, here, okay, so science is a systematic study of physical and natural world, yes, through observation and experimentation. So my observation is, well, according to AI, it's not even my observation, that you're going to have a level body of water with an abyssal plain, which is mostly flat.
What AI source did that come from?
Well, that's accepted geography. Any textbook will tell you the same thing. There's nothing here that isn't from the textbook. You know, this is a well-known experiment of density. Well-known. And you understand that what we're doing here is floating things of different density in a medium that will either support them or not. Yes? This disproves the need for gravity. This is an expression of everything has its own natural buoyancy. This, for example, is the Guinness World Records photograph reference. So there's a reference there, which you can check yourself. And then this is an experiment you can do at home. Yeah? And this is what I observed from a plane. This is what I see at the beach. I haven't done that, but other people I know have done that. And that's what we see, everything is level. And then when I'm on the street, well, what do I see with the streetlights? They appear to get smaller or lower. They appear to go down, like the plane appears to go down when it flies over my head. Yeah? These are all the things that we observe, and the sun does the same. So this is, if you go and grab off the internet, like a cross-section of the United States, which is what I've done here, this is a United States GS, the government survey. This is their evidence to say this is what our mountains are above sea level. I was shown this when I was in school, but I never asked the teacher, well, that's like 1/8 of the way around the globe. So where's the part of the curve that 1/8 of the clock or the football or whatever would have to have, right? It's not there. And the USGS will also tell you that there is a 9-inch difference between the two oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic. So there's no curvature over water.
Whether we agree with this, we might disagree on this. Well, fair enough for going out and saying your piece.
Thank you. You live here?
Yeah.
I'm just visiting Dorchester.
That's all right. Well,
I travel around the country and...
what is your end goal? Is it do you feel like there's some sort of cover up, or there's some sort of...
Well, with that expression, my people die for lack of knowledge.
Sure.
Yeah? And I think that we are severely malnourished when it comes to knowledge. And I was, up until the age of 45, just going along with everything that I'd been taught. I wrote a book about my time at law in Angola. I worked for the government in Westminster. I believed in the system. And then after I wrote my book, I found out that the battles that I were involved in were being orchestrated by the Americans and the Russians. Battle on the Lomba, 1987. My name is Dave Mannel.
Okay, well...
And the book is on Amazon. But it is my account. I had to do national service in South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So I was born in England, raised in South Africa. I did 2 years national service, and I just happened to pull the short straw and end up on the front line in these tank battles in 1987. Supported by the Americans on one side and the Russians on the other, a bit like the Ukraine or whatever. So many other conflicts that we see in the world. And I wrote a book, and I was encouraged to write a second book, and I started researching like why we always go to war. Why religion is also right in the middle of that.
But just after apartheid.
Whether I wrote the book or...
Yeah.
I actually only wrote it in 2012-13, much later. It took a significant life event for me to look back 25 years and go, what did I get up to back then? And found out that the battles were never written about. So I wrote them, and there's been more stories written since then. And it's a Wikipedia, you can go and look on Wikipedia about the Battle of the Lomba when we destroyed the 47th Brigade on the 3rd of October, which was one day I was on the front line of that, and we rolled over the 47th Brigade. It was a military first for the South African Defence Force, a significant thing. Later Nelson Mandela refers to it. It's all quite political.
You mean back since?
To South Africa, yeah.
What do you make of it now?
Well, I mean, for a lot of people, very little has changed. For a lot of I'm friends with some people from the black and non-white community, shall we say, and they feel like a lot of the promises made have not been kept. And in fact, the wealthy have continued to get more wealthy, and the inequality divide has grown in that time. So we see the same political shenanigans in America. It's not unique to the African situation. So I recognize this, and I realize that I was all my life sort of fighting these paper tigers that had been inflated for me by the system that had me at odds with my brother.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, aren't we, people in this country are talking about going to war with Russia or China or Israel or whatever, the Palestine thing and all of that. There's so much. I remember reading in the newspaper one time here in England where guys were paying to have their names put on bombs that were going over to Russia. This was only a year or 3 ago. And here we are once again. I thought, because once the Berlin Wall came down and the end of the Cold War and all that, and having been involved in fighting in the Cold War, I was very invested in the end of it and thinking that, wow, mankind is going to turn a corner now and we're going in a great direction. That's all bullshit. And by the way, it all turns out to be scripted or choreographed to create a particular end. And I never knew all of this until about 10 years ago, and I started researching alternative histories, alternative narratives as to how, we always put it down to government incompetence. We vote in the Labour, and then 10 years later, no, they're incompetent. We vote in the Conservatives, and we just rinse and repeat. And it's left wing, right wing, same bird. Left cheek, right cheek, same arse. And that's what politics now, I say to people, is part of the, let's call it the military-industrial complex, and they are the PR department for let's say a club or a group that sit behind them, the permanent people, the people you never see. I think it was Dominic Cummings, I already knew this, but I saw him do an interview in front of a fireplace where he said to people, listen, this is how it works in government. When this cabinet sits down, there's a script that they're going to read. The decisions have already been made for them. They just look like the guy making the decision. Someone else told them what to say. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's nice to talk whether you agree with someone or disagree. It's when you have an echo chamber where you don't you just blank someone, you don't talk to them. That's when things go wrong. That's when you don't listen to other people. But anyway, nice to chat to you.
I appreciate your
look at your
open
book
mind.
though.
Well, I'll give you a flyer because it's got my website and stuff. And then you can honestly, I raise children to university level on the basis that the Challenger, they went to the moon, all those things. I believe all of those things. So this is not outside of the realm of reasonableness. What I'm going to give you as well is this is a flyer on why the lie, why I believe they would go to such trouble as to deceive us about who we are and where we are, because I think it's actually divine. And I come at this from like a previously atheistic kind of perspective, but once I discovered this, I was like, damn. When I was a kid, I read a lot of Bible studies, and I said to them, listen, your book is a flat earth book. I'm not a Bible guy, by the way. Just so you know, I think that God is within each of us. My name is Dave.
Hey, nice to see you.
Cheers. Hello. I see you.
No, I was just watching. I was just looking. Well,
You've come across this subject. I suspect.
Yeah, it's not. I'm more into more likely to be someone who's interested in ancient aliens than I am in flat Earth, if I'm honest.
I was into ancient aliens until flat Earth, and then I was like, okay, what if the aliens are coming from land beyond where we can go on a flat Earth? Because a flat Earth has hidden continents, or potentially has hidden continents, and there's some evidence for that. I won't go into it now.
What I would listen. My view on it is very straightforward. Most people spend next to no time thinking about anything at all.
Yeah.
And just accept what they're told as the official thing and laugh at others. So my view on flat Earth is not that I personally believe it, but that the people who are researching it tend to know a lot more about all sides of the arguments than the average person knows because they're spending time. That's my view on it, if I'm being honest.
You're correct, because for me, I only found this 10, 11 years ago now, but I had to really go back and research the heliocentric model, the model that I had learnt in school. I had to really go back and check all the points. And once I was doing that from a point of not needing it to be true, I was like, okay, this is an element that I can't test for myself, I can't prove for myself. I have to accept that from a higher authority, like a religious guy. So I decided, okay, no, I need to go and test these things for myself. And water was my go-to because I grew up, my dad's in shipping, I grew up on the sea. I had a lifetime full of observations that once I'd heard this formula, which you probably heard, the 8 inches per mile squared formula for the curvature over a globe, right? Once I heard that formula, I was like, hold on a minute, I've seen things much further away in my lifetime. Even when I was in the desert in the war, I was talking to a young man about in Angola, we used to, in northern Namibia or Southwest Africa, we used to be able to see for 100 kilometers over the desert easily on a clear day, dry day. There's very little moisture, very little obstruction by the moisture. So I was quite satisfied that, hold on, I can't prove there's a curve. And then when it goes to, can I prove it's moving? I mean, everything in physics says that if you move something, the air will be disturbed, but then will settle once the thing has moved past it. You drag a little bit of air, but not much. There'll be some friction, some resistance. That, even a bullet train will, after a few seconds, the air will subside and return to kind of normal. And so that's what I think happens with our air. It can't be motivated unless pushed by something, a force, a high pressure or a low pressure or whatever. There has to be something to push it. It can't be just magically moving with us, at 1,000 miles an hour and all that sort of stuff. But what's more important, my friend, and I appreciate your ear, but what's more important is that the deception is upon all of us, and you as an ancient alien follower will understand that the history is written by the victor, and they do not write the history accurately. Whether it's as far back as hundreds of thousands of years, as some say in the ancient aliens version, or maybe millions of years, or maybe, I see buildings like Göbekli Tepe and things like that are well under the mud, that are perhaps thousands, one could say millions, but certainly thousands of years under the mud.
The point is that the official narrative is full of a lot of holes.
Yeah.
And what is presented as fact is often guesswork anyway.
Yeah.
So I think the gap between how they claim they built the pyramids versus how Graham Hancock might say, or propose, not state, but propose, isn't actually that great as it's made out to be. It's like, as an example, so if you're talking about something like this, I think it's a challenge is obviously, there's more ingrained ideas about
That's the point.
physics.
It's more ingrained.
But I would say that generally speaking, most people don't understand science anyway, but they accept someone telling them this is the science, and if you are already in a world where people have accepted what people have said, and then we find out later it's bullshit, like Charlie Kirk somehow doing whatever he's supposed to, Killer supposed to have done what he's supposed to have done, another of these genius marksmen, who's must have spent years practicing dismantling. When you start hearing this and you start, maybe even Trump's assassin fake it was, maybe that was
called it then, I
shot.
called it at the time.
As examples, recent examples, and all the obvious ones, false flags, 9/11. There's a whole, well that one, they're all sort of like to have military exercises that are replicating what's actually happened. Also, we thought there was, we were actually just testing a tube bombing on that day by surprise. So we were caught off guard. Look, the thing is, there's a lot of difficult to know what the reality is, but I think you have to take the official thing with a grain of salt. So that's why for me, the flat Earth, I just take everything with a bit of a grain of salt. I'm not someone who will turn around and tell you you're full of crap. I'm someone who will sit there and say, look, at least you're looking into it more than most people do.
Well, for me, there's a spiritual connection to this. So just in the same way as I can say to a globe believer that you can't prove that we live on a globe. You have to take, ultimately, you'll find that you're actually taking that on theoretical, if this, then this, if it's a globe, then this is how it has to be, the sun, the day and night, seasons, all these things. It has to be 23-degree tilt, it has to be all these things that you and I can prove. And the same is true with the Jesus story. I'll say to people like, so what if Jesus lived? I won't argue that maybe he didn't live, but what if he was trying to say that you are him, that you are God, that you are the expression of that? That it's such a hard leap for people to take. But actually what Flat Earth does is it starts to offer the potential or the possibility that we are in fact inside and part of a fractal of whatever this electromagnetic system is. And so for me the freedom comes not from, okay, I see all the deceptions that are wrought upon us and how they're harming people. We saw that in 2020 and 21 with needlecraft, right? How they're actually harming people. So, I'm very keen for that not to continue. However, I think that we're in a spiritual war, that the material thing is almost like a veneer that's hiding something much deep, much greater, much more eternal, much more beautiful, much more loving. And where Stephen Greer and all of those people, where I sort of part ways with them, is that they're doing what the Christians are doing, or the Roman Catholic Church is doing, is it's taking the power away from you and giving it to something else, someone else.
I'm someone who's more... I've got nothing against Stephen Greer. He comes across as slightly inauthentic, if I'm honest. But I like David Icke. I like people like that.
I gave him one of my flyers recently.
I kind of like that kind of person.
I like, I've learned a lot from David Icke, an awful lot.
I don't believe everything he says.
He won't touch this, although his son apparently is floating.
But you know what? He's done enough as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think everyone's doing their own thing. Then no one's perfect. No one's,
respect,
everyone.
With respect, the flat Earth is actually, in my honest opinion, probably in the top 3 of the most fundamental deceptions that have ever been wrought upon mankind. And so I'm picking that one. If mankind was to pull the lens off of we've been deceived at that level, it means that Russia, China, America, all these conglomerates are actually working together. As we saw with COVID, right? It's obvious that there was 190 odd countries in the WHO, and they all went in the same direction, but 3, and those 3 happened to lose their presidents within 6 months or less. So we know that we're in some kind of grand game, but most people will not know that until they see the extent to which they have been deceived. And if they've gone to such trouble, this is why I say, if they've gone to such trouble, this is not just about economic hitmen trying to force one country to do something, another country, whatever, using weather or the economy or whatever to manipulate that, money, Rothschilds and all that. It's beyond that. It's beyond the material. It's into something far more spiritual. And it steps away from the religious stuff and more into the, what are we? Who am I? What is this? And as I'm nearly 60, and I wanted to understand most of my adult life, what are we doing here? What's the point of this whole thing? And by the time I got to my mid-40s, I'd pretty much given up on ever knowing that. And then stuff happened, and I'm where I am now, and go, wow, we are magnificent. And this game, once you see
I get where you're coming from. I will take a leaf of it. My partner's there waiting. She will be sitting there saying,
she may find this blue one more interesting.
But what I would say is, keep going. I'm not suggesting you need that, but I do think it is valuable that people are questioning, researching, and taking their own path. So I appreciate the fact that there are people like you out there doing this.
Thank you. What's your name?
It's Gareth.
Gareth. I'm Dave. Well, I appreciate that.
No, good luck. Good luck with it, all of it. And
thanks for the chat.
No problem.
All the best. Cheers.
Thank you.
Enough of that. 2 long conversations. Well, not that long, but it felt long with the dry mouth. That's 2 nice conversations. Dorchester. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. You can't prove that water's going to curve on its surface. We never went to the moon. The International Space Station is done in a swimming pool. Oh. Earth is flat, Dorchester. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. You are the center of creation. NASA is Disney for adults. It's all misdirection to lead you away from your true self. Water is always going to find level, just like in the bath, the swimming pool, the lake, and you can't prove that the Earth is spinning. There we go. Hello, ma'am. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Did you know that? Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is fake.
We know that already, mate.
Yeah, it's Disney for adults.
Yeah, we know that.
Awesome. I can't prove the Earth is spinning. The water is always going to find level when at rest. Water will always find level. Water level. If you look into Loch Ness, the world's longest spirit level, according to scientists, because it has so little movement. Did you know that? But apparently they've measured 1.5 millimeters of movement. And so it is considered to be the world's longest spirit level because that's such a small amount. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. Did you know that? You can't prove that we live on a spinning rock in space. It's all made up by the same government that locked you in your homes in 2020. You don't trust them still, do you? Don't trust the government. They'll lock you up again. They'll make you stay home. The government will make you stay home again. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Do you trust the science? Still trust the science? You can't prove the Earth is spinning, and you won't find water curving over its surface if it's anything bigger than a droplet. That's a lovely dog. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Hello, my man. How are you doing today?
I saw something on what it was on the internet about pilots saying that it's flat.
They make no allowance for curvature. And so people who make excuses for it say that there are systems within the plane that are cute enough to keep the plane at the same altitude even though it's flying around a globe.
Right.
However, if you were flying flat and level or on a plane with their nose at 1 degree up, they're doing that to keep at 35,000 feet.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with whether it's Kilimanjaro or some other mountain beneath them. They'll stay at 30,000, 35,000 feet the whole time.
Yeah.
They're not going to go down, around, or anything other than if they're coming to land. So there's lots of pilots, quite a few pilots, even in the military, who've said, yes, we don't make any account for Earth curve.
Right.
Now, if you fly from London to South Africa, as I've done
I've
many
done
times,
that. Yeah, I've done that.
so that's 11 hours and 6,000 miles, which is 1/4 of the way around a globe.
Yeah.
Now that means that when you started your flight, you were upright like this, and when you landed in Johannesburg, you were upright like that.
Yeah.
But no gyroscope, nothing in your body has told you that you've done anything other than stay like this, exactly upright.
So when you
for
get
11
that,
hours.
that's why.
That's, well, how you're tired, and that's a different thing, because now your body's been in unnatural light, not normal foods, and sleep cycle, all those sorts of things will exhaust you, and you're in a room full of other people's stale air in the plane. You know?
Yeah.
But we know that the plane has to be pressurized, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Why did they do that?
You don't blow up.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to breathe the air
breathe,
at that
yeah,
altitude.
that's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
obviously, there are forces going to be dragging you out of the plane because there's a pressure differential. So they've got to seal that in, right?
Yeah.
Well, we say that the Earth cannot be sealed in simply by gravity. The atmosphere of our Earth would be in normal physics. If I said, look, I've got an atmosphere here, and I'm going to expose it to a vacuum chamber, what's going to happen? Immediately the gases will equalize in those spaces.
Yeah.
So if the vacuum of space is this vast empty thing, then immediately all the gases on our Earth should have vacated. But they tell us because the pencil, when you were 7 years old, the teacher dropped the pencil on the floor and said, that's gravity. And that magical force is now going to hold the gas and the water on an upside down ball. That doesn't work. When you're 8 years old, you may be you're willing to accept that. But in reality, I'm afraid it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Water will always find level.
Do physics yourself?
Very much, yeah.
Physics.
Real physics, I mean astrophysics or theoretical physics,
Yeah.
I'm not so interested in. I used to theorize about what the universe might be outside of this atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, traveling the Voyager and going to the moon and Mars and all these things. I imagined those to be possible. Yeah. Now I realize that we're inside of a giant Eden project, if you like. And on the roof of the Eden project is a planetarium, and it shows us for thousands of years the exact same picture show. You recognize that?
Yeah.
You know, the stars, the zodiac signs have been the same for all of recorded history.
Interesting.
And if we were moving at millions of miles an hour, which is what the claim is, that our sun and our earth are moving through the galaxy at millions of miles an hour for thousands of years, we would have been well in a different position to those stars, and they themselves would have been moving at millions of miles an hour.
Yeah.
Also, the parallax on those would be obvious, even in the matter of days, or perhaps in the span of a single day. That you used to say, wow, it's different tonight from when it's ever been before. And that would be, if you were on some kind of, thing where everything was spinning around you, that would be the reality. So we can't prove it. If you look into the science about how do we prove that the Earth is spinning, it's very flimsy. Foucault's pendulum. They did an interferometer experiment.
Is that
in
yours
there.
there? Is it your?
My flyers.
Yeah, flyers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give these out because it's good for people to have some information to take away with them.
Yeah.
Because people say, well, why would they bother lying about where we live and lying about going to the moon?
Yeah,
well, it changes the cosmology completely. It changes who we are and where we are.
Yeah,
I think everybody deserves to know the truth about that.
Yeah. Are you from Johannesburg?
No, I was brought up in Durban. Left on a flight?
The Edward Hotel.
I'll have one.
The Edward Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Just closed recently.
Oh,
A friend
right.
of mine worked there.
Oh, wow.
Because he was in Cape Town, but he's in Portsmouth now. And I used to live out in Uganda and Zambia.
Really?
Yeah. So I've done a lot of flying.
Oh,
backwards and
okay.
forwards,
Okay.
as you say. Yeah.
My mother was born in Nigeria,
Nigeria.
but I was born in Dorchester and raised in
Dorchester.
South Africa.
Oh, right.
So-
Whereabouts in Dawson?
A pool.
Pool. Oh, that's good. Go to school here or
No, in South Africa.
in South Africa?
But I raised children here in England, and they went to school and university. And then, as my daughter was reading history, I started saying, "Oh, I think the history might not be everything may not be true. That we may have been lied to about a lot of things." And
They reckon the royal family is a different one, don't they? They were saying the other day. They went on a different tangent and said that the people who were actually involved to be with it in the royal family were pushed off by Henry VIII and said, no, we are, and so.
Well, this right to rule is another question that I have to ask now.
Yeah.
Even though I marched past the Queen at the Cenotaph in 2015, I now know that the right to rule is actually a deception on each of us, because we are each kings and queens. We should not be subject. Yes, we might in our town have a town mayor or a senior group who are the ones who make decisions about things. And we should show respect to our elders and all of that. However, this idea that I am your master and I can step upon you and you are my servant, well, I see all of that in religious dogma, I see all of that in political dogma, and I see all of that in the monarchical dogma that we have in the world. And so I'm not really supportive of any of that. For me, it's all part of the theatre that is being used to control people for millennia.
That's right.
Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space.
Space
is made up.
to the moon, they said it wasn't, because they could see the shadows of the lights.
Yeah, there's a lot of failings with that.
Yeah,
They
I
say-
saw that in Rhodesia when I was in Salisbury. Well,
really?
Harare now. But I went to a cinema with my parents, and we saw it in the cinema on
The big
landing
screen.
on the big screen on the
Really?
landing on the moon.
Wow. All in black and white. It was all in black and white back then. We're talking 1968, 71,
69.
something like
69 it was, yeah.
It turns out, because we've done some research on it, that none of the CBS or NB, all the newscasters, the main newscasters, they weren't given a live feed, a direct feed. They were given a secondary
Delayed.
feed. They had to film a projection that was happening on a screen. So they never got they never got an actual feed. So the grainy quality of it really limits people's ability to make good judgments about whether it's real or not. But now when we look at the lunar lander under 4K imagery, we go, wow, that looks like tinfoil and shower curtains, and it looks like it was made by a university sort of science project, really. Not something that could withstand the rigors of space travel, the temperature changes, all those sorts of things that are out there. And now when you ask the young NASA engineers, they say, well, we haven't been back to the moon because there's these Van Allen radiation belts at 1,000 miles to 26,000 miles, this is their words, and we cannot get through them. And we said, well, then how did we get through them in 1950, 60 with technology that's nowhere near as clever as we are today? You know, if you look at an aircraft from 1960 and an aircraft like a stealth fighter today,
I used to fly with Argonaut.
We are in a different world when it comes to that kind of technology. A different world, you know. But when it comes to space technology, well, they claim to be doing things with probes and things on planets. None of us can prove that, and it's very easy to provide somebody with a feed and say, this is my evidence, you know. People have seen craft little rovers in Canada, you know, in these red rock areas out in Canada that apparently are the NASA people. They've got NASA logos all over them, and this is where they fake being on Mars. You know, so, and Stanley Kubrick is said to have faked the moon landing for them as well. And he seems to have made a confession. Obviously, believers will say no, that was fake. Rather the moon landing was fake. So there's lots of things, and then when it comes to modern days scientists saying, well, let's take all the telemetry data that you use to get to the moon, because obviously the moon is moving at the same time as the Earth. All of these things need to be accounted for in its trajectory. And then this idea that they could slingshot around it. Let's have a look at the data of that. NASA says, well, unfortunately, we seem to have lost all the tapes. Rooms and rooms full of data. There's no evidence that they can prove, you know, mathematically or with their sort of data that they actually went. So no, it's taken on belief, and there's a saying that I think it was one of the presidents, American presidents, is that Nixon said that American people won't believe it's true until they've seen it on TV. Until they've seen it on TV, and so the Tell Live vision is designed to propaganda us, just like we were in South Africa. And look how they did in Rhodesia. You know, people were sold the whole story, and then a few years later they just flipped the switch on them and they said, no, not that. Same in South Africa.
We've been to Rhodesia.
Not yet. I'm hoping to.
To Zimbabwe, yeah, I went there twice. 69 and 71, I think it was. Yeah, because I was at school here in Dorchester. I was at school, but used to go on holiday. Went down to Mozambique, Beira, had a look there. It's quite interesting. I've got a thing on my phone about Rhodesia and all that, but they were saying there was a war on, which it was. You know, there was this, you know, everything happening, and we were travelling around, but we never saw any of it.
Really? It tends to be like little pockets with most things, you know. Even in Ukraine, there'll be a lot of people going about their lives like it's normal. You know, and I think even during the war here, you know, well, too, people would have continued to do things as, you know, you could have gone around, well, people are still shopping, they're still out doing things,
that's right.
carrying on life as normal, going to work in a lot of cases. Obviously, during the Blitz, it would have been a little different.
That's right.
But, you know, so, but the thing is that the reason why I talk about this is because I think that the entire game is designed to steal your energy, keep you in a low vibration of fear, and then use that to control
people,
your soul or control your life.
Interesting chat.
Cool. Well, did I give you a flyer?
I've got some.
You've got some?
Yeah, I put some in my
Well,
pocket.
lovely to meet you.
I hope to see you again.
Yeah.
Your name's?
Dave.
Dave, I'm Tim.
Nice to meet you, Tim.
Yeah, okay,
Go
Dave.
well.
Good luck with it.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. Very pleasant.
In this abstract hip-hop song, I feel at home. Navigating the depths like a jazz improvisation. New jazz rhythms set my soul in cosmic vibration. trip hop, roots with on my very being. Four place runs the soundtrack to what I'm seeing. Abstract.
Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA fake space. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. If you're watching NASA and believe in what you're seeing, you are being brainwashed. Turn off the TV and do some of your own research. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. The government locked you down in 2020. They're going to do it again because people are going along with it. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Water is always going to find level. You say water level, Dorchester, because water does level when it rests in your bath, in your lake. At what point does water start to curve? Water won't curve over its surface as much as you want to believe in the religion of the globe. The globe is a heliocentric religion. It's basically sun worship. You believe in the globe, you believe in sun worship. You believe that a Big Bang created monkeys, and here you are. That's not true. You were created perfect by the Creator, which might be you. Water will always run downhill. Water will always run downhill unless contained. And when the water is contained, it will pool level. No matter how big the pool, it will remain level. Level and, by the way, horizontal or parallel to every other body of liquid in Earth. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. School is pretty much all about indoctrination. You can't prove you live on a globe, but like the religious, you believe it because you were taught it. How are you doing? I got a flyer for you.
Yeah.
You seem like you've got an inquisitive mind. How old are you? 12?
12, yeah.
I'm pretty good like that.
Just question, have you seen aircraft, right? So on their flight path,
Yeah.
they make, instead of going a straight line,
Yeah.
which they would if Earth was flat, they do a curve, which is straight on the flight path. They have to like curve round.
Did you just say they do a curve which is straight?
Yes. So
So-
on a flight map,
Yeah.
it looks like a curve.
Yeah,
But in theory,
yeah.
it's actually straight.
Yeah. So when we take those maps, those
Yeah.
same routes, and we apply them to the United Nations logo, which is kind of like an accepted flat Earth map, they end up being mostly straight lines, particularly flights to, say, through Dubai or from Hawaii or New Zealand or whatever. You go, why do they fly them there instead of just like down there? And I always used to make the excuse, well, it's because there's probably not enough people flying that route to make it viable. Yeah, I used to make that same excuse. But there'd been, a guy wrote a book called 15 Landings, Emergency Landings, that prove the flat Earth. I don't know if you've come across it, but
No, I haven't.
situations where someone has given birth or died, say on a plane, and they have to make an unexpected stop, and they'll make that landing like within an hour or so, and they'll be like, how are you? You were flying from, one example I remember, Hawaii to California, and you stopped in Alaska. Think about that on a globe, it makes no sense. But you see a flat Earth projection, it's like, oh wow, that's quite close to on the route. So I've got pilot friends who
Yeah.
are international flying pilots and Cessna type pilots, and they are all of them say, okay, the Earth is flat. We make no allowance for curvature. We don't, you know, like if I'm flying to South Africa, which I do often, I'm not going from like this perpendicular to this perpendicular. I know that, the gyroscope knows that. It says it's on the same attitude for 10, 11 hours, and it doesn't make any allowance for this idea that we curve. By the way, I was 45 before I started questioning the globe, but when I was your age, I used to say to my science teacher, so you're trying to sell me on this idea that gravity is holding the water to the ball, right?
Yeah.
But your example that you give me, your physical example that you give me is a bucket with a rope filled with water. And you spin that bucket over your head and the water sticks to the back of the bucket and it doesn't fly out, and they say that's gravity. And I say, no. You've got two physical things in play here. One, the rope, two, the bucket, which is a container. Water always must be contained, right? We know that. If I break the container, it's going to run downhill until it finds a pool, and there it'll stay until it overflows and goes to the next pool. That's what happens in reality. So you're wanting me to believe that. But by the way, because they're 12 years old, if I didn't answer the question correctly, I wouldn't pass this at school. So I had to answer that. But at the same time as me arguing with my science teacher, I was saying to write a lot of Bible study. I say to the Bible teachers, like, how come the earth, according to the Bible, which is meant to know everything, how come it says that the earth is not moving, which is, our science teacher says that earth is moving.
Can I look at your thing? Because I've got to go, but...
Take one more. I've got a different one for your mother and father, and tell them I'm very impressed that you are able to hold a conversation with an old guy like me. I'm nearly 60.
I think you've got a good point, but...
Just remember, you've got to test it for yourself. If you can't test it, if you can't prove
Thank
it,
you.
then why should you believe it? Nothing I've said I want you to believe. I'm saying go and test it. NASA says, trust us, bro. We're out there. Just trust us. And I used to believe in the moon landings. I'll let you go. I'll shake your hand. Have a good life, young man. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Dorchester. We have all been lied to since we were 7 years old. Teacher made you believe in gravity, made you believe that water could stick to the underside of a ball, when in physics, water must be contained or it will run downhill. How does the Nile run uphill on a globe? It cannot. Water cannot run uphill unless it's forced uphill. And can you prove that you're spinning? Can you prove the earth is spinning? Nope. The sun's moving over our heads. That's not proof that the earth is spinning. Yep. We're taught to laugh about it because it's silly. You'd fall off the edge of a flat earth. Well, of course, you might do if it is what they tell you. But, of course, you can't fall off a globe, even if you're in Australia and upside down. That's not ridiculous at all. I saw it on TV. It must be true. Water runs downhill and will find level when at rest. Water runs downhill and will find level when at rest. Think about that, Dorchester. How can you live on a ball with level water? 75% of the earth is water. 75% of the earth, therefore, is level, flat, horizontal. The ship going over the horizon is an optical illusion. You can work this out if you want to. But you have been brainwashed, you have been indoctrinated, and you willingly locked yourselves down in 2020, willingly stayed at home, willingly locked your businesses up, because a clown like Boris Johnson told you to do so. That is embarrassing. Hello, sir. Earth is not a spinning rock in space, sir. God made us at the center of creation. Like it says in the Bible, Earth is not moving. We are at the center, and God made us perfect. We didn't evolve from monkeys. We didn't evolve from monkeys. This idea that slime turns into fish and then turns into monkeys is complete non-science, pseudoscience, just like the idea we're traveling in outer space vacuum. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. You can't prove you live on a spinning ball. You play football on a pitch. You don't play football on a ball. Water runs downhill and will find level when at rest. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Dorchester. We've been lied to about who we are and where we are.
I don't like the camera, I don't like being recorded.
Well, I'll speak to your council about that. They've probably got 20 cameras on you right now. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat, Dorchester. You know we can't prove Earth is spinning at all. You have to believe NASA. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. Did you know that? NASA's images of the Earth from space are admitted to be paintings. They admit that they're paintings or computer-generated images more commonly today. Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing. Did you know that? They never went to the moon. Why? Because they can't leave this system. We're inside a glass dome, just like it says in the Bible. Yes, it does. The ancient cultures, they all knew. The Mayans, the Aztecs, Egyptians, they all knew. Sumerians. The stars rotate over your head.
You are not rotating under the stars. That's as ridiculous as going to a nightclub and saying that the floor is moving.
There are nightclubs where floors move.
Well, that's because you've had too much to drink, my friend.
I think you may have had too much.
Water will always fire level, and gas pressure needs containment. Earth is contained. That's why we have gas pressure. Water will always fire and level. In the Mediterranean, there is no tide because the moon is not the key factor. I think the moon's very involved, but I can't say I know exactly what. And this thing is, did you know that Loch Ness is the world's longest spirit level according to scientists? 40 kilometers of perfectly level water. When does this magical curvature, it's like unicorns, when does this magical ball curvature turn up? I've never seen anything like it. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. All of that is made up. Aliens, spacecraft, it's all made up pseudoscience to get you to stay at home. When the government call you lockdown, you lock down. When the government tell you to put a nappy on your face, you willingly put a nappy on your face. You willingly stifled your own breath because daddy government told you so. This is not impressive, Dorchester. You are no longer your own master. When Daddy Boris Johnson can tell you to stay home. Daddy Boris Johnson can tell you to stick needles in your arms. And you can't come to work if you haven't taken my poison. Can you imagine if I said that? But no, you'll listen to Big Daddy government. Why? Because Big Daddy government has been indoctrinating society for millennia. Hello. Earth is not a spinning rock in space, Dorchester. We can't prove we live on a spinning rock in space. We can prove that water is level. So why don't we stick with the physics we can test rather than Neil deGrasse Tyson's made-up fantasy land? NASA is really Disney for adults. My banner's not getting a lot of traction right now, which is unfortunate. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Hope you don't trust the government. And they taught you live on a monkey ball, that you evolved from monkeys. This is all lies, Dorchester. Come on, let's have a chat. Who'd like to have a chat with me about their beliefs? Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Change my mind. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Science teacher has been brainwashed to mislead you and brainwash your children. We are the center of creation. It's an electromagnetic system. Deep. But water is level. Water will always seek level. Runs downhill, yes, but it will seek level when cooled. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Whoa, that's a big one.
No, I have a picture. Picture.
I'm recording.
Go on, boy, get it up there.
You lads play football?
Yeah.
You ever try to push a football under a swimming pool, underwater? No? No? Alright. Hello, man.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm happier than I was when I got up. It was a lovely day.
It is a beautiful day,
Yes.
and a nice one to be walking around town. Are you local? Really? How long have you lived here? I bet a long
Somebody
time.
caught. 7 years.
Only 7 years. I thought you were going to say 57.
No. I know Dorchester well because I lived on a farm 3 miles from here for 29 years.
Okay.
Until my husband was a man ran a dairy there.
A dairy?
Yeah, a dairy of cows.
Yeah.
There were just us, my 2 children, and 200 cows.
Fantastic.
It was, but it was very
Hard
nice,
work.
but a lot of hard work.
Hard work, I know.
Yes,
and harder today, I think. You know,
It is harder today
increasingly-
because you see, I mean, I can relate that to agriculture. I was nothing to do with agriculture. I married it.
You married into it.
I married it.
Yeah.
But I can remember people who worked around, and the thing was, they worked hard. You know, they worked with their hands.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the tools and the mechanisation that we've got today. I mean, look at the machinery. I mean, you couldn't buy a house for some of what the big pieces of machinery. Oh no, you know. I mean, I don't know.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds.
A combine harvester, but they're not called that now.
No.
But I mean, something like that, they would probably pay 200,000 to 300,000.
Yes.
Really,
Yes.
and seriously.
Yes. And the problem with that is that then farmers have to borrow money from the bank.
That's right.
And then over time, those interests...
They're living on borrowed
That's
cash.
right.
But the other thing, of course, what happens is they don't own their own machinery. What happens? I mean, I did farm secretarial work, so therefore I knew a lot of farms. I used to travel to the farms, and you know what they started doing, the sons, and I was also involved with young farmers. I was county secretary for 7 years.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
and yeah, it was good, but they weren't. And I was involved with their clubs. But the thing is, the sons then, because they became more educated.
They became?
More educated.
I like the marijuana.
They were clever. That was when Kingston Ward was an agricultural college, and I worked there. And so therefore, one farm would buy a big piece of machinery, a harvester, or a plough of clever
And then if
extra.
you want to go on down and I can go and get my bit.
Then the son would contract himself with his piece of machinery to other farms. And you see, because so much of the machinery stayed on the farm fallow for a year, it was only used for that type of year.
Oh, yeah. Although it's needed at sort of some of it's needed at harvest time or at ploughing time.
That's right. I mean, and they used to look up for and even with hedging. Now, you know, I can remember when my husband did hedging, and he was a good hedger too. He could cut hedge as well.
Yeah.
But that wasn't his job. But he used to do it.
Yeah.
So he cuts it. But you know, now you see the hedgers go along and they're cutting the top.
Right.
They're not shaping.
Right.
That's it. And I can sit. Oh, you ever sit in the car? No, that's not a very good hedge, you know. and it's getting the shape.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And Ken would cut a shape into it.
Right.
And people used to come. Are you doing any hedging? Right up my head. You know, people would move in.
Yeah.
So agriculture has changed.
It has changed, and so have the rules of government. You know, their involvement in everything is so incredibly powerful now.
Yes.
So for dairy farmers, for example, they tell me that there's so many licenses and restrictions and testing and this and that and so on that it makes it hard to stay in the market.
It's very hard.
We prefer to drink raw milk as close to natural as possible.
I do too, because my children were brought up on it.
On raw milk, yeah.
And you know, people say, oh no, it's got to be pastoral, it's
No,
got to
no.
be this, it's got to be that. No, it hasn't. I say, look at mine too.
And you look into Louis Pasteur and you find out that there's the whole pasteurization thing might have been designed, actually, I know this sounds conspiratorial, but it might have been designed to weaken the food and therefore weaken people.
Wow.
Because if I denature, if I take some of the nutrients out of the food or some of the bacteria that are important for your gut out of the food, then you are weaker as a consequence and maybe more susceptible to...
You are what you eat.
Yes, exactly.
Now, who has it said that?
Voltaire? No?
No, a lady.
Oh.
No, she's not long been dead.
Oh, is that... Oh, Elizabeth.
Yeah, no, I can't remember, but she was a socialite.
Right.
But,
yeah, you are what you... Well, I think that it's been...
And you are what you...
Yeah. Someone just poured water on my stuff, which is fine. Now, because I started looking into all of these things and realizing that, wow, government's not really on our side anymore. I believe that they were, but I don't believe that anymore. And so when I look into all of the different things, whether it be to do with history, medicine, farming, all of these things, I see the fingers of some kind of backroom control, which is beyond Margaret Thatcher, beyond Tony Blair, beyond the people that you see in Downing Street. It's something behind that is controlling the agenda.
I know.
And so I started looking at all these things about 15 years ago, and then I came across this idea that, well, we can't actually prove we went to the moon. When we really look at the evidence of the moon landings with modern technology, we say, did we really go? And when we analyze that stuff and try and look at the data sets and so on, we find there's nothing to prove that you actually really went. We've got these photographs, and we have to believe, based on a few people's testimony, that that's what really happened. And so I started looking into the moon landings as possibly fake, and then I found out that if we live on a globe, like they say, there should be an amount of curvature.
Yes.
That the water everywhere should be bending to create the sphere, or late spheroid as they call it. So you try and measure that, and you find that actually water, as far as we can ever measure, is level. And I just read a report from scientists who said that the Loch Ness is the world's largest spirit level because the water stays so level over 35 kilometers or 20 or 5 miles or whatever it is. It's perfectly level over that length. But according to the maths formula, the Pythagorean math of the globe, we should be having hundreds of feet of bend of the water over 35 kilometers. So there's no...
I've often thought that. I must admit, I've often thought, well, you only see the circle when you see it on a man-made globe, don't you? Yeah. And that's how they equate with the fact that the Earth is not flat. I don't think it's flat, but I mean, I do believe there's got to be an element of...
Well, if the Earth is 70% water, and if your lake, no matter how large the lake is, if it's Loch Ness or just a 3-mile lake on your land or whatever, that lake is provably level. You can take a laser, you can make observations across all of that, and there's no curvature over water. So just because the lake is 1 mile long or 100 miles long or 1,000 miles long, you're still going to get the same result. What you might find fascinating is I saw an interview with a lady who would now be 107 years old. She passed a few years ago. She was 102 when she gave the interview, and she said, when I was at school, American ladies, when I was at school, they taught us that the Earth was flat. And it's only in this last 100 years or 80 or 70 years that they've really drummed home and forced this idea that...
But if it's flat, you see, you've got to have edges.
Well,
Where
that's
are
a
the
good
edges?
question. Well, there's a good question. So if you think about the cow's womb, yes, there's no edges to that womb, right?
No.
You're enclosed inside a system. Well, the same is true with the flat Earth. The biblical flat Earth, the Hebrew cosmology, is to say we live inside of a womb, a bubble. God separated the waters from the waters and put a firmament, a sort of barrier, a firm barrier between those waters. And we're inside of that space like a womb. There is no edge that we could go from. In the same way as...
I mean, if it's flat, you're going to come to somewhere where you're going to fall off.
Well, imagine like you're inside of an orange. Imagine you're the seeds inside of an orange. Our Earth is a great electromagnetic orange, and we are the seeds at the center of it. And so when we get to the extremities of it, what we call Antarctica, we may not be able to go too far beyond that. And so in the 1950s, the Americans and the Russians and all the big countries, Britain, signed the Antarctic Treaty that prohibits us from traveling freely beyond 60 south parallel.
Really?
So what if that's we're getting towards the extremities of my little orange example, where it's like, well, we actually can't get out. There is no edge. They taught us when we were 7 years old that there'd be an edge and we'd fall off, and that would be ridiculous. Ships would just go over the edge and all of that. I was taught the same thing, and I laughed about it too. And now, since I've studied quantum physics, I can understand how this could work as an electromagnetic bubble inside which we are at the center, like the seeds of the orange. You see, all life comes from the seed, and the seed is protected. Yes, and the seed is protected by water. Just like in your mother's womb. And the water is protected by a sac, and and the orange has got a pith, and then it's got a rind or a skin on the outside. And those are the layers of protection for the baby and us as humans, God's children, inside of God's womb, if you like. But there is no edge as far as we can just tell. There was a famous American navigator called Admiral Richard E. Byrd. He had he had 30 ships in his fleet. He had planes. He had army. He had 5,000 soldiers, all funded by the American taxpayer. And he spent 25 years exploring the North and also the Antarctic. And he came back and did an interview in 1957, 56 and said on American TV, I found land that no man has ever stood on, bigger than America. I found there's resources on that land that will last lifetimes. And the very next year they signed the Antarctic Treaty and locked it down. So the only people that can get in there now are on cruises. You can go on a little tour around around the city. That doesn't mean you've seen all of England, right? And the same is true with Antarctica. You can't just freely travel. Even Ranulph Fiennes, when he tried to do a tour 10, 12 years ago across one peninsula of Antarctica, he had to, his crew told me personally, it had taken us 5 years to get permission for him to go across this one peninsula. You think, gosh, Ralph Fiennes, you should be able to pick up the phone and say, hello, Queen Elizabeth, we're friends. Just make sure I can go, if you don't mind. And it should be no problem. You know, I'm not going to ruin the pigments or do anything like that. I'm just going for a hike. We can't do that. Why? And that's the question. If you've been told, don't step over there, then you've got to start asking the question, why would you say that? Why would you stop me from looking over that side of the river? What's there? And so we've discovered that that's when you look at things after 60 and 70 south parallel, there's very little information and very little access allowed to us. So we think that there is a grand deception to hide God from us. Because if this is an enclosed flat earth, it has to be created. It wasn't a big bang. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't random. It didn't take 14 billion years, as they say. This was an instantaneous decision by God I don't think of the man on the white beard in the clouds kind of thing. But whatever the supernatural is that created this, I call it God, and that had an intention to create a habitat for itself, to express itself or to experience itself. And that's what I think that this world is a school or a playground.
Where we go when we die.
Well, we go back to that. We go back to that. We are eternal beings. We never die. And this lifetime is perhaps just a test. Some cultures say that we recycle. We come back. We may do. I don't have a dog in that race. I think we might do, but it doesn't matter to me whether we don't. I know that we go back to some loving essence and we see our loved ones again.
Yeah.
I had a near-death experience 10 years ago, which was a big catalyst to me looking at things like flat Earth, because when I passed, I saw things and got given information that made me certain that when I leave this body, I go back to my living higher self. And my living higher self will welcome me back and say, you've been gone a few minutes, but it might have been a 90-year lifetime.
Yeah.
And that was my learning from that. But I don't follow any religion, but I know that in the spiritual essence, we are all one. We are created by the same loving essence, and we are here not to be tricked. My people die for lack of knowledge. We are here not to be tricked, and we are being tricked. This is what some would call the devil's world or Satan's world. That there are dark entities in high places who are controlling the course of human affairs. And I'm not trying to stop that. I recognize that that's happening, and it's almost biblical. It's biblical. However, what's not needing to happen is how you receive this life, whether this is heaven or hell for you, this life, your joy, your lack of joy, your good vibration or your low vibration. Those are things that are going to make this life more enjoyable. And then I say there might be a prize at the end that says, well, you didn't leave this life so miserable. So maybe in the next time around your life will be another, you kind of migrated up to another level of self-learning, learning about yourself. So we're here to learn about ourselves. And God is in each of us. I think that Jesus is trying to say that the way, the truth, and the life is only through you, that you are the expression of God.
I really must go because, sorry, it's been so interesting talking to you. I really, really have been interested. I'm not just stood here because you're talking. I've listened.
Thank you. Can I give you a flyer to take home with you? Just something to think about. And I'll bid you a really good day and a good life.
I've had a strange day today. I won't go through it.
Well, you met a flat earther.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I've got some young boys hanging around, I think. Might see them again. It's funny, eh? Trigger's the youngest. Well, you're talking to me, I'm gonna look at you, right? What, that you're talking to me? Why are you talking to me? Why are you talking to me? But I only noticed you because you talked to me, right? Come have a chat. You got nothing to write. Listen, I'm not for the government, right? I don't. Did you have to wear a mask? Did they make you wear a mask in school?
No. I'm a handicap. I wouldn't listen to the school.
Good for you. But you saw your mates, right? Have to wear masks and stuff like that.
No, they never.
Locked up? Did they have to stay home? People didn't do lockdown?
Oh yeah, but we didn't wear masks because we're not handicapped, like.
You're handicapped?
I'm not handicapped, so don't call me a handicap. It's call me a handicap.
You were using that term. Remember, I am recording this conversation, so don't talk shit to me, okay?
I'm not talking shit to you. You're just sat there calling. Do you hear this guy? Don't talk shit to me.
Well, you're calling yourself handicapped, so I
said I'm not a handicap, and you said what? You're handicapped.
So you're not handicapped?
No, I'm not handicapped.
Okay, but you were locked down.
Yeah, okay. Wasn't everyone?
No, I wasn't locked down.
Why wasn't you?
Because why should I? If I came to your house and said, Dad...
Well, if you didn't lock down, you might still have COVID-19, you see.
You believe that still?
No.
Good. So, again, talking shit.
Who?
You listen. I'm here to help.
I'm not talking shit.
You may not realize this now, but I'm not a guy who supports what your teachers are teaching you. I'm not a guy who supports what the government is getting people to do, like lock them down and stuff like that. I'm not a supporter of that stuff.
Do you want to recess?
Hello, young lady. No, I'm trying to stay away from sugar.
He reckons the school makes us wear masks.
Well, I'm
Why are you
saying,
still recording me? Skibbity dop dop.
Anyone that can lock you down is your master. Yeah? So the government is your master. That's what I'm saying. And I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's
You're
right.
not
That's why I
talking
come
shit,
out.
he's talking shit. He thinks
That's why I
the
come
Earth
out
is
and talk to
flat.
people. 'cause
Do you
I
think
don't
the Earth's
it's
flat?
right. I know it's flat.
You know
Yeah.
what, you've been in outer space and seen it in
There
a
is no
circle.
outer space. That's made up. You've never been out of space.
So where do the super rockets go?
What the fuck's NASA
Well,
then?
actually, if you take a look at the rocket launch like properly, it does this. It does a parabolic curve, and within about 50, 70 miles, it's already heading down to the sea again.
What have you had today?
So the rockets are really just big balloons that they
Big
fly
balloons,
in.
you reckon?
Yeah. They're helium balloons. NASA is the biggest buyer of helium in the world. They own 3 helium mines.
Oh, I can't
Ask yourself
listen
why.
to this.
Why would they need helium balloons? You know why? Because
They might have to make their
most of
voice go
satellites,
squeaky.
and most of the satellites are on balloons. They're floating on balloons.
I love balloons.
Well, that's a different conversation. But all satellites are most satellites are from balloon technology that they've had around since the 1950s, 1960s. They never went to the moon.
Why did you say my councillors have 20 cameras on me?
They do. I've been to at least 50 different cities in this country, and everywhere you cannot get
Have you
away
been
from.
to Bournemouth?
Yes, been
Top chavvy and that?
Yeah, I was born in Poole.
Not as good as the Bournemouth lot.
Whatever. That was in the 1960s, a long time ago, a different time. But I've been around a lot of cities, and let me tell you, the council are filming everything. They've got these control rooms, they're watching everything. I'm not complaining about it, but the fact is that they're recording your image all the time. And shops, Tesco's, well, all the shops you're walking in, they've got facial recognition now. It's getting much more than just an old grainy camera. They'll be like the passport people have. Then when you walk in the supermarket, they'll be like, that guy, we know him. You need to stop him because he did this. He was seen in another shop. Because what if Tesco's, right? What if Tesco's has... I'm just going to create a scenario here. What if you walk into Tesco's, right? Or maybe yours walks into Tesco's and he nicks something. He nicks something out of this town's Tesco's, right? Then he goes to Bournemouth and he goes into that Bournemouth shop just to buy a sandwich, right? And they go, boom, we've seen that face. We've got facial recognition. We've seen that face.
I told you to keep the camera away from me.
Well, you're on camera.
You're all on camera, guys. Anyway,
Harry, I wouldn't have
it's
it.
not
I
live.
wouldn't have it.
It's not live right now. It's not live right now because I can't get a signal from my phone. But I'll upload it later to my channel.
So I'm going to be on your channel?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to be on your channel. Can you take that down?
No.
I'll get my lawyer on you.
Okay.
I'm getting my lawyers
You'll want
involved.
this though. Take my. You will want my YouTube account. Otherwise, you won't know how to find me, and your lawyer won't know how to find me.
Alright, I'll be sending you
All right.
financial weight.
Hi guys.
Alright.
You want to have a little chat about this? Have you looked at it? You don't want to be deceived your whole life, guys. Honestly, I'm 57 years old. I was 45 before I worked this stuff out. And I believed it all. Moon landings, International Space Station, the Challenger explosion, 9/11, I believed all of this stuff. And it turns out that there's a lot of stuff, once you pick back behind the layer of what BBC presents to you, a lot of stuff can be disproven. And if you are still comfortable with what the government did to us in 2020, then I'd suggest it's a word to the wise. You have young children, you do not want them running down making the same mistakes that most adults did in this country in 2020.
What do you think they're lying to us though? I don't get what's
Well, I have a flyer on that because people say, "Well, is it just about money? Is it just about control?" But actually, I think it's actually much deeper than that. I think that we are a spiritual essence of something much like an eternal higher self. I could use the word God, but I'm not a religious guy. So for me, the word God just means like this omniscient everything, and everything is God. That means that you and I are God. That means that we are creators, creating many versions of ourselves. So we are the creators here, and this is our world, this is our universe, if you like. It was created by us, for us, at least for us, if not by us, but I make the claim that it was by us as well. Yeah. And where it was designed as like a Disneyland or a school, if you like, to come and learn something. Because if you are God and you are everything, you can't feel anything, you can't taste anything, you can't experience anything, you can't learn, you can't have pain, you can't have love. You're everything, you're all love, all pain. And so I think that this game is designed to hide that fundamental truth from you, using religion, government, science now. And I was a big science dude, and I was watching everything NASA gave us and looking forward to finding the next star and the next, life on Mars, all of that stuff until my mid-40s. And then I had a near-death experience, and I was like, oh, we don't die. When you leave this body, you go back to your eternal higher self, and it'll feel like you've just had a day at Disneyland, even though it lasted 75, 85 years. And so I think that this game doesn't want you to know that. It wants to it doesn't want you to ascend. Or rather, I say it like this to people. What if you said to your youngsters, look, I want you guys to be a little bit fitter. But the only way you're going to do that is for me to stop driving you to that place. You're going to have to walk there, and then you're going to have to run there, and then you're going to have to climb a mountain to get there. Because I want you to be stronger, fitter, better. But I'm not going to achieve that by ferrying you backwards and forwards all the time, right? So the same with a ship captain. You know, a ship's captain cannot sail around Little Harbour and go, I'm a big-time captain. No, until you've been across the Atlantic. Until you've been across the Atlantic, sailed in some extreme storms and all that kind of stuff, you can't really call yourself a proper skipper, right? You know that. You got a little pleasure cruiser on the lake, and you're sitting in the pub next to a guy who's got 40 years in some of the hardest seas on Earth. You know that this guy's the real deal, right? Well, that's the same with this game, is that if it was so easy that you just got into a car and you got kind of ferried to the outcome, you're like, well, you didn't learn anything, and you didn't have to prove that you were as fast as you claimed you are.
So therefore, you also don't have to prove that you've been around and done been on the all these oceans and stuff either, do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to Disneyland and going, well, you know, like all I'm going to do is a teacup ride. That's me. You'd be like, okay. But this time around, maybe that's all you need. And maybe next time you'd be like, I want something a little bit more, like, you know, testing. I want to be tested. I don't want to just sit back and follow and be just a consumer and a whatever that the system is trying to design out of me. So I think, it's like traveling. Like if you only ever came to Dorchester, that's the only town you ever visited, you have a very limited understanding of the world. Yeah. You know, and it shows, and it shows. When I was 20, I traveled to America for 6 months, and road tripping and whatnot. And when I got back to my friends in South Africa, I felt like I'd gained so much that they hadn't, because they were still doing the same Friday night, same club, same pub, same this and same that. And I'm like, oh, there's a whole lot more stuff out there. Well, the same is true with this government. You know, they're trying to engineer what they call the 15-minute city. Have you come across this? The 15 minutes.
About that. I know about all this sort of stuff what you're talking about, but that's got nothing to do with the Earth being flat.
No, well, no, yes.
None of that's got to do with the Earth being flat.
You see, for me, it's like the gateway truth, this Earth being flat thing, because once you realize that, you know that the Russians and Americans are not really at war with each other. They want you and me to fight each other as Russia and America, but they're not really at war with each other.
No, that's just money making.
There's other things, right? Because if you look at how many young men in this country did not come back from World War I and II, right? We are talking about 10 million, maybe 5 million, or I forget, but in Europe we're talking about tens of millions of young men that never came back off the front line. Do you know how many grandchildren?
You're saying that world wars are just money? What about the tens of millions that were Jews that were killed in World War II?
Yeah,
that was just for money?
Yeah, no. You see, so there is an element of wiping people out, shall I say, population control, shall I say. Yeah. And the biggest loss of population seems to be like Russia. Europe, obviously England lost a lot of guys. You go to every town I go to, there's a memorial, there's 20, 50, 150 names on every town, right? They all gave up young men who should have great-grandchildren your age, great-great-grandchildren your age.
Or did they give up the men so that they didn't have to have an ideology in their country?
Well, you see, so this goes a little bit, because remember, if the Earth is flat and the Americans and the Russians are working together and the Germans and the English are working together, or there's people behind these people, Churchill and Hitler.
Surely then, like we've just been saying a minute ago, if the Earth was flat, it'd be a tourist destination.
Yeah, why is that? Yeah. How has no one found the edge?
If the Earth was flat, then it'd be a tourist destination. People go to the end of it.
The edge of the Earth.
People go to the end of it.
Okay, give me
Alaska to Russia.
Great, give me 2 minutes. So if we'd been to the moon 60 years ago, we'd be going on holiday now. I believe that when I was a 10-year-old boy.
I never said anything about going to the moon.
No. But when you say going on a tourist, why don't Nike or whatever have a webcam up there streaming 24 hours a day? This is very possible with our technology. If the moon is just up there and they went 60 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of the edge of the Earth, when you were 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, you were taught, like me, I had the same education as you, that people believed that the Earth is flat and that there has to be an edge to it, and you would fall off into the vacuum of space or whatever you believe is the edge of it. However, when you look at what the Mayans, the Incas, the Egyptians, the Sumerians, all ancient cultures, the Hebrews, they depict an Earth that's enclosed. like an orange or an apple, rather than this idea that it's just a frisbee floating around in a vacuum of space. No, none of us in the flat earth movement believe that shit. What we think is that it's an enclosed system. It has to be, because for thermodynamics, the second law of thermodynamics demands for pressure to exist, containment. In your deodorant can, in anything, your tire, there has to be containment. There has to be physical barrier. A plane has to have a physical barrier. You cannot operate it without physical barrier. So this idea that the globe is doing that, there's no physical barrier, that's pseudoscience, bro. So when it comes to the edge, there is no edge. But what happens is 1940, 1930, 1940, and 1950, a guy called Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the most decorated Navy guy in America, he gets given 15 years, a fleet of ships, aircraft carrier, and he's got 5,000 men at his disposal. And he spends 10 years in the Antarctic region. Comes back and goes on American TV in 1957 and says, I found land, stood on land that no man has ever seen before. I found land that has got resources on it that will last mankind lifetimes. The very next year, America, Russia, Britain, France locked down the Antarctica with the Antarctic Treaty. Never been broken in 60 years, this treaty. And it prevents you and me, no matter how wealthy you are. Elon Musk couldn't, if you believe that he's the real thing, could not take a plane or take a jet.
So Elon Musk is like a robot.
This is all fact.
Elon Musk is
This
not a
all
human
fact.
anymore. Yeah? That's what you're saying.
No.
Elon Musk, if he's a thing.
Come on,
If he's
I gotta go
a
to
thing,
Boston.
he
Thank
has
you
to be a
I never
human.
said Elon Musk was a human.
He has to be a.
I said if you
thing, he has to
believe
be
in
a
his story, because Elon Musk is the deep state. He is CIA. It's hard to hear. No. Well, I was trying to offer them information, but it gets
But this
painful.
is for people to change your mind, though. This is the fun bit, right?
Yeah. Well, is there anything here that you would say is incorrect? Anything that I put here on?
Well, yeah, but the fun thing is to change your minds. Like what you're doing is you're trying to change people's minds.
Yeah.
But you know, it's the opposite. I did it myself. Like it's a nice way to start a
Conversation.
Actually, it's like change.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what was it? What was it? Change my mind. How did I use it? Like my first interaction with a friend of mine who's it's not flat earther, it's just a non-glober.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know who you are. I'm Zev, by the way. Hello.
Zev.
Zev.
I'm
Yeah. Dave. But but like he's for example, he doesn't say he's a flat. He says he's a non-globe. You know, it's like it's not so much. This is the thing, because in my experience, like sometimes you don't have to know the truth just to spot a lie. Maybe you're someone maybe you put pressure on yourself. You feel like you have to offer the solutions or the answers. But just saying that, pointing out something's a lie doesn't mean I know what the truth is.
Yeah.
Just, I know what I can spot a lie when I see one. You know.
Yeah. Most people can't though. Right? Most people lock themselves down.
But most people
in
are
this
busy.
country, 85% of people in this country took a vaccine, right, for an invisible virus.
Is that the numbers? Is it?
85%. Let me tell you, we are so badly indoctrinated. And I come out on the street because on YouTube they shut this topic down in 2018.
Right.
Well, I was in this in 2015, and we watched the Americans YouTube executive go into Congress and say we're going to shut Facebook down. Shut Flat Earth down, and we're going to. That's when they started putting the banners at the bottom of it. But all of our channels just went boom. And then when I started talking about COVID and saying, "Hey, listen, don't do this," they took my channel away. So this is why I come in the street.
Yeah, no, I'm very well versed on geopolitics and the whole.
And so
I don't know about you. I'm excited about what's coming actually in the next couple of years. Actually,
it's very interesting.
I don't know if you're like investing in gold and stuff like that, but
I would like to have. But
good idea.
I've been traveling for a long time.
The paper money's just
fiat.
Slowly disappearing.
It will go. It will go.
So I would recommend it. If you've got any cash, keep it in gold for now.
And silver seems to be jumping.
Yeah. But that's just playing the game. I'm not playing the games. I'm just trying to not get caught up in the as the paper goes down. You know? Yeah. Well, Bitcoin. Yeah. So a bit of Bitcoin, a bit of gold. It's just a way to. I'd rather have my spare cash in that than I would the paper right now.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm not certain about crypto. I'll be honest with you. It's for me. I mean, I've got friends who've done all right in it and been.
Well, that's it. That's thinking of as an investor, but it's just I'm just surviving inflation for now. I mean, it's the hidden tax, right?
Yeah.
It's like because on the TV, or whatever they say, it's at 2% this year. Maybe you know all about this, but they tell us, but it's like they don't tell you like it's accumulative. It started in like 71 when they took us off. Inflation's actually at 3,000%. Like, was it like a dollar in America is probably like it's actually sort of 3 cents really.
From back, yeah.
Yeah, it's anyway, but that's a whole other subject.
No, I'm with you on that. And Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. But the thing is, for me, why I tell people about the flat Earth is because it's like a gateway truth. Because if this is true, then pretty much everything we've ever been taught is
the big one. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, obviously, you're ready for anger and zeal because the thing is, I've studied a lot of things. And the thing is, if you shake people's foundations, don't be surprised when they're angry and they react with zeal.
Yeah.
It's perfectly natural.
Absolutely.
It's like
absolutely.
just
I know, it's kind of water off a duck's back now for me. I've been doing this in the streets since 2018, so I've seen quite a lot.
It's human nature. It's like nobody wants to feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to feel hopeless. And a lot of this stuff is like you present it something like that, and that's what happens. And then people respond with zeal is okay. Zeal is like a defensive anger. It's not a harmful anger. Zeal is anyway. Once you accept that, it's like people. If you shake people's foundations, they are going to respond with zeal.
Yeah.
Once you accept that, I guess it's like
Yeah, and it's almost like I know I'm triggering people because if I went into a church and said Jesus didn't die for your sins, if I said something like that, that would really upset people. That's a funny one, that.
I think they've sold us a human sacrifice story.
Yes, well, it could be that.
Look at it. I mean, it's like, and then it's like, actually, so he died. So the government basically strung him up. He got strung up by the government, right?
Yeah.
Strung up by the government, and somehow that means he died for our sins. And I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah.
So what does that even mean?
Yeah, because if I got, say, banged up, and then people like 300 years later said, "Oh, Dave, he died for he died for us." Well, no, I was obviously just out here speaking about what's happening to all of us, and saying that you're the master, not some other entity that's in power.
Yeah.
Stop trusting in these entities. And so, by the way, the Son of God, right, is this sun in the sky. I think they're sun worshippers. There's the sun people, for Sunday people, the Christian people. The light in the sky is the sun, and heliocentrism, the globe belief, is also sun worship in a sense because we have to have the sun first in the system. It's preeminent to Earth. In my view, Earth is preeminent to the sun. So Earth is like your heart. Earth is an anagram for your heart. And
I made a poem.
Did you?
I made a poem of that. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that the center of everything is the Earth, the heart. The center of you is the heart. The center of the God, this creation, whatever this is the Earth. And then above it you have the lungs, and below it you have the bladder. You have the waters and stuff. And that's the same as your body. We are micro in the macro. And I think that's what, for me, Flat Earth was initially just about the numbers and how ships work and how do seasons work and how do all these things work. But then it's like, okay, now I understand that. What does it mean beyond that? Because this can't have just been made up just for the bloody hell of it, So ultimately, I think the truth is that we are fractal. I give people this example to take away with them, is that, the Russian nested dolls. The 7 Russian nested dolls. Babushka, Matryoshka. The small one is maybe you, and the big one is everything. And we are a fractal within the orb. And I think that there is, for whatever reason, I was explaining to them before they stormed off, that I think it's designed as a test, perhaps, a learning place. Yes, there are dark forces here, but there are the tests that strengthen the steel or sharpen the steel, rather than all do you fall to the wayside, fall by the wayside, culled by the very thing that's either going to be your test or your master. That's
where I'm at. I'll take that with me for my life at the moment, because what's going on for me in life is either going to take me down or make me stronger, I suppose. And I got to you get to a point where you think, I'm going to have to choose what I'm thinking, because this negative stuff is taking me down. And I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I'm lonely. And I'm like, am I lonely, or actually am I just in a really nice place with a nice view? The mind is all the mind.
And you will know this probably better than me, or as well as me, and that is that the magnetism or the sort of energy that you
emanate,
is going to determine a lot of what happens next, what you bring in.
So it's universal laws stuff.
I met a lady yesterday, so grumpy, a farmer lady. So grumpy. I was like, what a shame, that her outlook, she's got a lovely farm, quite a few head, and so miserable. And it's like, wow, that's
Quite common, isn't it? I've been looking at this recently because I've always been quite a maybe
Positive.
like yourself, yeah. And then at this where I'm at the moment, I'm sort of like everyone else. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we're like. It's like without that thing that I normally do, this is what it's like. Yeah. But I just want to share with you something that I learned along my way, which is take or leave, which is like what I found, like in terms of being effective. I don't know what your mission is, but in terms of being effective, what I found is like, because you're kind of going for the bash over the head technique, which I've done a lot. Plant a seed.
Yeah.
Plant a seed, and walk away. I tell you, it may be hard, but it's more effective than bashing people over the head.
What's your name again?
Zev.
Zev.
I'd like to meet you. Yeah. Are you moving around here?
I move around, yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go. This
I'll
is just
be
this
heading
moment.
up to Somerset soon.
All right. Well, I will see you again. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
To
Well, I am. So
because I'm always interested like this. What's this saying? This bit here.
Well, I mean, this experiment you've probably done yourself
Yeah.
in science class, and we understand how that works. Yeah. It's always going to be the same, unless I narrow something and change the pressure system somehow. But this idea that the water is going to, London, Johannesburg.
Right.
When I'm in Johannesburg, according to the globe model, my perpendicular, my up, is that way, and my down is that way.
Yeah.
And
Gravity is supposed to be.
That's right. Gravity is meant to do that, but I know.
Which is not explained, but
But I know that it's so difficult to move water. If you take a bowl of water and try and move it around, it's very easy. Once it's spilled.
This is what got me thinking: is the land and the water. Like I was thinking of a body, and then you put liquid on that body and you spin that body.
Yeah.
Well, all the water flies off.
Yeah.
That's what got me, and I had a conversation with someone the other day about that, and they were like, well, yeah, but it's already spitting off. That's true. It's only accelerational forces that make water come off of a solid object. But it's like, well, that must have happened once. I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
because in reality, if like a train is accelerating and you've got water on the roof of it or whatever, that water's going to get left behind.
Yeah, accelerating. But once it's got to a constant speed, you can sit on a train with a cup of tea.
Correct. However, the train is not a good example with that because it's an enclosed capsule. We can't claim gravity to be the equivalent of the body of the train in which we're enclosed. Same with the plane. People use that. Same with the car. We can observe how if you turn the car fast, you can see how the gases will move around inside of the car. As you turn fast, you'll see gases move this way or that. But it must be contained. If I took the roof and the windshield,
and it is in an atmosphere, isn't it? Like it's not in space. The water on planet Earth is not in space.
No.
It's in an atmosphere.
It's in an atmosphere
with gases, blah blah blah.
In which physics says that
it should move differently to solid. Liquid should move different to solid.
And you don't have to even spin the ball. If I took a ball, you can see them in town centre sometimes. They'll have a fountain.
You don't even
with
have
water.
to spin it, do you?
No,
It
the
would just
water
fall
will
off.
run off the ball. The only way, even a square, it'll run off the tabletop of a square unless there's a container.
I know the one because like gravity, all masses are different as well. So if there was this thing, gravity, and it was like there was this pull, because I think it's funny that they tell us that we're living on this thing like what's it, 8 miles down or whatever
it's into it. Yeah, Cola deep. Super deep.
No, I don't know. Apparently,
they
there's a thing that's supposed to be as hot as the sun. Like we're supposed to be like, it's been around for millions of years apparently, and there's something as hot as the sun down there.
Right.
I mean, we can live on this thing, and they're supposed to be as hot as the sun, the center of the earth.
Well, we say to people this that we don't know what's down beneath our feet beyond 8
one's been
miles
there.
because
Exactly,
we've only gone the Cola deep, and the Russians and the Americans worked on this project for like 20 years, and they gave up after a few years where they've gone, we're not getting any progress. It's too hard. It's too hot. And nothing we can build will cut us any deeper into this ground at 7.5 miles.
Yeah.
So to make claims of 4,000 miles beneath your feet is ridiculous. And even when they were using ground penetrating radar, they weren't getting the same results that their radar. The radar said water, no, they hit rock. Radar says rock, they hit oil. It was.
And also this thing I did fossil fuel.
Yeah.
Not a fossil.
Okay, good.
Not a fossil.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Abiotic. And the earth is growing. Earth like blood in your body.
I was thinking that myself. I was thinking maybe it's something that's made. Yeah.
Yes, because I used to believe that Earth became liquid because water comets or whatever had smashed into the Earth and brought water. That's the mainstream science as to how it's here. if they were separated, I won't go into more of that, but in terms of oil is the second or third most common. My 8-year-old was telling me this the other day. It's the second most common liquid on Earth. And you're old enough to remember the 1970s oil crisis, OPEC thing, and all of that. We're running out of oil, and those same people are producing way more oil today than they were 50 years ago when they told us we were run out.
Yeah.
So these oil wells, it's proven that these oil wells are actually refilling themselves, just like a water well will, an aquifer will refill itself. We have bladders.
We don't really know, I suppose, but it's just the fact that nobody knows what's it. And they use that model to when they look up as well. Say, well, we know that because of that's how the Earth. It's like, well, you don't even know how that works. So how come you get to put that model on that stuff? You don't even know this one.
Correct. Yeah. That's it, Zev. So what I've realised is that I'll often read the explanation and it says because this and that because is what we have to accept as law.
Yeah.
That because we see the sun set because the Earth is rolled back at 1,000 miles an hour. We see seasons because we've tilted at 23 degrees. Okay, how do I prove that the Earth is tilting to 23 degrees and then back again twice a year, Or is it that the analemma that the sun is creating over the fixed position at 12 o'clock every day, it creates that figure of 8 shape over the course of 365 days? And it'll do that.
Don't you have a card? Do you have a card for people?
Yeah, we can...
I've got time, time's against me, but what was I going to say? I like in Spanish because
just been to Spain. I should come back a week ago.
Why and because is the same thing. Porque. Porque is why, and porque is because. It's the same thing. Why and because is the same thing.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's obviously the same voice, but Well, I just think there's something profound about the fact that why, the why and the because is the same thing.
Cool. This business guy is actually a friend of mine. He has an app which costs $3. But it's got all the best flat Earth videos on it.
Well, I was just thinking.
But if you want to get in touch, my email is.
It's just obviously chatting. I just feel like I'm sure you could expand my knowledge on might expand my curiosity. But bear in mind the seed thing as well. It's interesting. Just
seed planting.
Maybe this is not the.
I can't convert anyone. I can't get anyone to say in one day.
Yeah, what you want is you want people walking away. You don't want these people walked away thinking that guy's a knob, right?
Yeah.
What you want is people walking away thinking,
I get that. Oh, I get that.
Seed.
But I get it all. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Yeah.
Well, that could be a seed.
That's what I do when I'm not talking to someone. I'll be a little bit more vocal.
And as well, it's like getting people to think for themselves rather than pummeling with. You're very wise and very clever, but people only trust themselves.
And they can only take so much information. To be fair, it's a lot of information.
Yes, it is, and it's obviously counter to what.
Yeah, and everything is.
I'd go easy on people.
Let me find reasons to do this. No, but I've done this many times.
Maybe.
I appreciate it.
But I've looked at my life. It's like who, what minds, and or who. Actually, more when people have changed my mind, and the ones that have changed my mind, I was thinking they planted a seed and let me do my own thinking.
Yes.
And they were gardeners, funny enough. Well, I don't know what you do, but
I do gardening.
There you go. Planting seeds is how you grow trees. Right? Yeah. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
And,
Likewise. All the best. All the best.
Have a good day.
Stay well. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. NASA fake space. NASA is Disney for adults. They make children believe they can go to space, and then they give them NASA when they're older. Earth is flat. Water is going to find level when at rest. Water will always seek and find its own level. You believe the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. You believe the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound, faster than most craft we've ever built, but you cannot measure it. It's because we're in a belief system. Sun worship. Sun worship. Time, only 2 hours in. Giving a little promo here to the light paper. I was hoping that a few people would say, I know the light. I haven't had that yet. Earth is flat, sir, not a spinning rock in space. NASA never went to the moon. NASA never went to the moon. That's all fake. Stanley Kubrick made the movie. Earth is flat. Water's always going to find level. Water always finds level when at rest. Earth is flat, my man. Unicorns aren't real, and a globe can't be real either. Gotcha. Earth is flat. We can't live on a ball. You can play football with a ball,
but the pitch must be flat. Sea is going to find level when at rest. Earth is flat, Dorchester. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Earth is not a globe. NASA never went to the moon. I hate to break it to you.
The Earth belongs to Trump.
That's a good one. You're probably not far from the truth there, my man.
Well, they're sharing it with Putin, aren't they?
Yep. They're divvying it all up.
Yeah, of course they are.
The oligarchs.
Yeah, shocking. Come on, Pip.
The Jesuits and the Zionists. Earth is flat. Religion is fake. Science is a religion if you believe you went to the moon and we can walk underneath a ball. Water will always seek and find level. It must run downhill, but it will seek and find level when contained. Water is always going to find level. That's why we say spirit level, water level. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You're a veteran. I was a long-range gunner. Earth is flat, man, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is all fake, it's all Disney, it's all CGI, cartoons, harnesses, green screens. NASA fake space. I hope you don't believe in NASA. They'll lock you down again. If you continue to believe in this government, they'll lock you down again. They'll make you stay at home like naughty children. Adults should not behave like that. Adults should not lock themselves in because Daddy Government Bobby Johnson told them to stay home. Bobby Johnson. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, my man. Dorchester, water will seek and find level. Water will seek and find level. That's a fact. Water is not curving around no ball. That's all made up. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for grown-ups. Water is going to find level. Earth is not spinning. Earth is stationary. It's kind of biblical. The Bible says the earth is not moving. The science teacher says the earth is moving. Your senses say the earth is not moving. Your teacher says the earth is moving. Who do you believe? Your senses? Or do you believe the teacher? The teacher used to believe that the earth is not moving until she was brainwashed. And then she now brainwashes others.
They all want to know if the Earth's flat, what's underneath.
We have no idea. We have no idea. We don't actually know it in the globe. We've never dug deeper than 8 miles.
So if it's flat...
Have you heard that? Did you hear that? We've never dug deeper than 8 miles. So how do we know that what's 4,000 miles beneath the core?
If it's flat, it's just a question. Because I don't understand it. I don't want to. If it's flat, what's at the end?
The Antarctic Treaty.
What's that mean?
You don't know the Antarctic Treaty?
I know the Antarctic, yeah.
No, the Antarctic Treaty.
No.
You remember Richard E. Byrd, the famous admiral in America in the 1950s? You're old enough to remember. He explored the Antarctic region for 15 years, and he had 5,000 soldiers, a fleet of ships, and an aircraft carrier. He comes back and goes on TV in America in 1957. He says, the video is still available, you can find it on YouTube. He says, I found land, I've stood on land that no man has ever seen. This is 1957, mind. I've stood on land bigger than America, and I found resources that will last humanity lifetimes. The very next year...
So it's continual?
Maybe. But the very next year, the Antarctic Treaty was signed by all the big nations of the world, and
nobody else ever went
broken
there.
No one can go beyond the 60th South Parallel,
What
other
about
than the scientists who can go on.
The planes that go over it?
No planes go underneath. You come out the other side. I've looked at all the flight paths. There's never been a plane, and it should be. If it's Peru and Australia, it should be the quickest route. Should be under the globe. We don't fly that at all. They'll fly to 70th South Parallel, and that's as far as the international planes can go.
So in theory, we don't know what's under the Earth.
We don't know what's at the edge,
not Australia.
Yeah, or that there might be. There was an old map, a 1,000-year-old map, was found in a Buddhist temple. You can take this as I can't prove this to you, but there was this map turned up. It had 25 other continents outside of the 7 that we know. So, is it possible that there are aliens on extra Terra, extra Earth, beyond this ice wall? There's some stories written about it, but I can't prove that to you. What I can prove to you is that water
where we measure it is always level. In fact, you can Google this. The world's largest known.
If water's level,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and you're in a harbour and it rises,
Yeah.
how can it be level?
Well, I mean, if I add water,
It still rises.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
if I add water to your bath,
Yeah.
the water level's going to rise. But once I stop splashing around and I
It's
let it
lev-
settle,
it's level.
going to be level.
Yeah.
And in fact, they say the pyramids were built using water leveling over the 400 meter
Yeah, that's
lengths of
right,
them. The Suez Canal is 100 miles long and engineered perfectly level. There's a lake in Russia, 300 miles long, Bidakal or whatever it's called. They use it as an ice rink in the winter. And it's 300 miles of perfectly flat level. There's no hump, there's no curvature. But when I didn't know this until 10 odd years ago, but there's a formula for the curvature of the water. If we live on a globe, they say it's got to be 8 inches per mile squared of curvature. That's what they say, right? I'm not saying I believe that. But if it's 8 inches per mile squared, already at 10 miles, you're talking about 60 feet of curvature.
Hello, Paul. How you doing? All right? Yeah, good to see
you.
you. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the Earth.
Oh, right, okay.
Is it flat?
All right, well, I didn't mean to bring you in on this conversation, but you can't prove that the water is curving.
No.
I believe that, and people say, well, I can see a ship going over the horizon. Well, what if I gave you a powerful zoom camera and I brought that ship back after you claimed it had gone over the horizon? What if I took you to 1,000 meters? I was in the Sierra Nevadas recently.
But I've
just a
gone
month ago.
round the world on ships.
What if I went around in Britain on a ship? If I sailed around Britain, Ireland, whatever, Scotland, England, whatever.
Which I've done, yeah.
Does it make it a ball? Is England a ball?
No,
You
it's part of
you
a curve.
circumnavigated.
Yeah.
You circumnavigated England, Scotland, and Wales. But that doesn't make it a sphere, mate. The sea level is going to be the same, other than for tidal variations, which you'll know are quite extreme in some areas. Other than for tidal variations, the sea level is the same. And if I travel from
You ain't
Bournemouth,
give a shit, do you, Paul?
well, if I travel from Bournemouth over to Wales, I'm going to go up 300 or 400 meters and come down 300 or 400 meters to the same sea level.
Yeah.
And I've got this image here. This is America. This is what you can find on the net. If you want a cross section of America, if you want to do hiking or cycling, what are my mountains? What am I going to go up and down? Well, teacher always drew a straight line in the class. You never thought about this, but this is 1/6 of the way around the globe.
Yeah.
1/6 of a football, or your clock, or whatever. You think about it, that's got to have a significant amount of this going on if this is on a globe. But they'll tell you that there's 9-inch difference between this sea and this sea, Pacific and Atlantic. There's no curvature, guys. And it should be massive. Pilots are saying this. They're saying we fly hours and hours and hours, always level. The only thing that changes is the ground goes up and down beneath us. But we go level at 30,000 feet and settle back to zero again, or 200 meters above sea level, depending on where you stop.
Anyway, that answers their question.
You can give them.
They always wanted to know.
Well, you know what?
No, we looked on the internet.
People want to know why
you're-
they would lie, because people go, oh, well, whatever, it doesn't matter, it makes no difference to my day, right? I've still got to go to work, I've still got to do, everything's still the same. That's true, but it means, for me, it means something more about who you are and what we are doing here, what the purpose of this life is. And so that's why I've got this little flyer here that says, why the lie? Why would they bother to go to all that trouble to get Stanley Kubrick to film Going to the Moon? Guys, the wars that they're going to create and have created are designed to mess us up. So many English boys never came back from World War II. I went to war in Angola, so I'm not taking the piss when I talk about people not coming back from war, right? I've been there myself. But I did that under apartheid, where we were given a whole different narrative, a whole different storyline about why we were in war with the communists and blah, blah, blah. And I was there in 87, right? And we were much stronger than the Angolans. And within 4 years of that, the South Africans went, oh, we've decided we're going to give it to the communists anyway. And after my whole childhood, they'd gone, you know, the communists are coming, the communists are coming, the communists are coming. Go to war, go and fight them up in Angola. And then they hand it over.
Anyway, I want to catch up with Paul. I'll give it to them in there.
Yeah. Good luck, guys. All the best. All the best. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Water will always seek find level, like in your bath. Oh, that's a NASA t-shirt. NASA is Disney for adults. Water will always run downhill, right? Water always runs downhill, except on the globe. How can the Nile River, thousands of miles long, be running up the side of a globe? But for a belief in gravity. Gravity is like the big religion that holds all the lives together. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space.
Yeah, stabilizer.
Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Liquid must be liquid must be contained. Otherwise, it will run downhill. And when it is contained, it will find level. Water always seeks and finds level. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You've been lied to about who you are, where you are. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. We are an enclosed system. There's no edge. There's no edge to the flat Earth. It's an enclosed system like an orange. We live inside the big apple. There's no edge to the apple, right? But you can't live on the outside of the apple. You have to be the inside of the apple. That's where the fruit is. That's where the seeds are. You don't care. That's why they did it, bro. They did it so that you wouldn't care anymore. You don't care that you are the expression of God. You would rather just be an evolved monkey, voting, staying at home when they lock you down, putting masks on your children's faces, all of these kinds of things. They will do this to you over and over, tax you, take you to war, all of these things, because the government is a corrupt control system, probably worse than religion. I think we're getting to the end of the day here. Earth is flat, sir, not a spinning rock in space. You play rugby on a pitch, you don't play rugby on a ball. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA faked you. NASA punked you. NASA never went to the moon. Think, my friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Dorchester. In Dorchester. Hello, Annie. How are you?
All right, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. Have I walked through your...
No, I'm actually filming myself. Look. Now I'm filming you.
18
minutes. Right here telling people that the Earth is flat. That we've been lied to about who we are. God created us. Perfect. Legion. I used to be a big veteran I fought in the Angolan. I'm not past the in 2015, but in 1987 I was in the biggest tank battles in Africa since World War II. On the front line, by the way. Well, it's all nasty when it comes to war, but I discovered when writing my book that we've been lied to. We've been tricked into going to war, and so I started researching war, and I found that the world wars have also got a funny story behind them. They're not straight up.
No, they're not. And if we'd been kinder to the Germans, us and the French, after the First World War, the Second World War would not have happened.
Have you ever heard that Hitler was tried on 5 occasions? He sent 5 emissaries to say, we want peace with England.
Really?
And Churchill kept refusing. We're never taught this in our history. Why?
Right.
Because it would take him away as being the ogre that we had to be frightened of.
But what stage did he send those?
Prior to the beginning of the English involvement. So he was saying, listen, I want Sudetenland,
after Poland.
Poland, yeah, I want that, but I'm going there, and it was for whatever
but you
reason.
couldn't believe him. He was after world dominance like Putin.
Well, what about Trump? Isn't Trump after the same
Trump's off his head, and so is Farage, and I hope nobody's going to vote for him.
So
They're
all
bad people.
All of politics is what I say to people is that the people you vote for are the PR department. Once they get into office, I worked in Westminster for nearly 10 years and in government, and I know for a fact that once you get in office, you have to follow the party line. You have to be a safe pair of hands. And so when Dominic Cummings admitted this, he said in an interview which is available to see, that the cabinet meetings are simply them reading a script. The appointed or the elected officials are simply reading a script of a decision that was made before they even got to the room. It's all control to take mankind on a journey. Now, without wanting to get too dark and twisted about it, I think that it's almost like we've been put in some kind of school or test or crazy world, and the question is, can you keep your own sanity? Can you keep your own harmony, your own balance, despite the crazy that's happening in the world? And COVID was crazy. Whatever you believe about it, it was a crazy time. There's more crazy coming down the line.
And
Like another COVID.
probably.
There's
they
going
keep,
to be a big recession, I think.
They keep beating that drum about that, but I'm not sure it'll necessarily that people will fall for it quite like they did the last time. So
What I don't like is there's no privacy.
privacy.
Anyone can find my name and address and my birth
Yeah.
date and who my mother was and anyone. You're not free anymore. We're spied upon.
Have you heard about this digital ID?
I don't want that on my phone. I wouldn't mind it in my bag, in a card, okay, but not on my phone.
Yeah, I think we're moving into an interesting time going forward. I was saying to these young men just now, not that I would encourage this, but the facial recognition technology they have is so good now that you could walk into Tesco's, pinch something, and then in this town, and then go to another part of the country and walk into that Tesco's, and as you walk in, the facial recognition will say, "We know that guy."
So why are they still successful then? These shoplifters?
Well, no, the facial recognition technology. I mean, they're quite good at that, and I'm not encouraging that. But the facial recognition, I guess, it's just to say that we used to say years ago. We used to say, look, what's coming is that all of these shops have got cameras, all the streets have got cameras. So the entire street, for example, here in Dorchester, is covered 50% of anywhere you could go, right?
Do you know, I live in Poundbury, there's no camera anywhere.
That's lovely. Well,
there are no yellow lines, there's no parking. People drive around at 30 miles an hour. Our only problem is bloody motorbikes. They just come tearing through to annoy us.
Yeah. Now you see, you could have a reasonable decision to say, okay, well, let's do some kind of traffic calming. You see, it's an interesting.
Oh, we have traffic calming, but they're not big lumps. They go down very slowly, and they're cobbled. So you would certainly hurt your car if you drove too fast. But it slows people down quietly.
Yeah. Well, I have some sympathy with the system because let's just say shopkeepers here were saying, listen, we're getting a lot of stuff stolen, there's a lot of antisocial behaviour. So the council, trying to do something to protect that, would put some cameras up and then monitor them, or put some people on the street to monitor that. I can see how we would get to that. Or say in your village, someone or an animal, someone's beloved animal gets knocked over by a bike, and so the decision is taken to put a speed camera there, so as to slow people down. So you can see why good people might end up becoming their own jailer, and you go, oh well, I found myself in a very tight
place. I think the
now.
concept of Poundbury, he was from, he's not Swiss, he's from somewhere around there. He's just died recently, and he's done that sort of a development all over the world, not necessarily towns. And it's a kind of lovely place, and it's like if you're renting out a property, if it's all lovely, people are less likely to wreck it, apart from students.
Apart from students.
I must go and catch my bus. Nice to talk.
Lovely to talk to you. Take a flyer, just the Why the Lie one.
All right.
There you go. Have a good day. All the best. I'll call it a day myself. And so, time. It's no good.